Friday, TGIF edition of the show, the eve of Bama, Louisiana Monroe. You're with the hottest show in the streets, talking your Crimson Tide in my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Happy to have everybody in here. We're bringing you the show from the magic city of Birmingham. We're streaming it to you on YouTube. You know what time it is. Speaking of the channel, hit that subscribe button right now. Smash that subscribe. Get on it. Get there. Make this your network, platform, channel, and space to talk Bama. Get your friends to subscribe, family members, diehard Bama fans, casual Bama fans, consumers of college football, because if you enjoy the content, they will also. Don't forget to leave a like, drop that thumbs up, give us a like here on the show, run those likes past the moon, people. We definitely appreciate all of you. Turn all of those notifications on, hit that little bell so that way you miss absolutely nothing when we alert you, drop content right here on the YouTube page discussing your Bama. We got a great one here tonight. You can also check us out on Facebook and Twitter as well as we stream to you the show. But we got a great one tonight. A little bit later on in the conversation, we got my man Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA. He's coming on to talk about the top targets for Bama. Who's high on Bama? Who is Bama high on as we continue through the season? And he's been able to talk to quite a few recruits following the matchup against Texas. And so Justin has some thoughts on what's going through the mind of these recruits following a narrow victory over the Longhorns on last week. But we want to hear from you, the outstanding fans of Tide football. You can do this by calling 205-448-1358 number to let your voice be heard right there, 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. Want to hear from you. The daily super chat goes $75. Daily super chat goal. Appreciate the man Eli Walker in the production studio doing our thing on this evening. And first and foremost, Eli, topic of conversation here. We got to look at, Coach Saban, the last three airings of the Nick Saban Show, his weekly radio show, which happens every Thursday during football season. The last three moments for the last 3 weeks to start the season, Saban's been given gem after gem after gem, talking point after talking point after talking point. And this recent airing of a Nick Saban Show, he wants to see more competitive fire from this team. More competitive fire, more competitive edge from the players. He likes this team. He's happy about this team. He's talked so much about the leadership of this team. He trusts this team. He believes in this team. But he mentioned, one thing he wants to see, that there's one missing link. There is one missing ingredient, and that's that constant competitive fire, that constant competitive edge, playing like your life depended on it, playing like something's got to give, something's got to happen, like playing with your hair on fire, so to speak, every single week out there, that you're on the field. And Saban kind of got into a discussion of when Alabama has been on the road, normally they play better than what they play at home prior to the Texas game this past week, just due to when Alabama's on the road, it's not just, they're playing up against the competition. They're taking on the competition. They're taking on the fans. They're taking on the environment. It's that kind of us against the world. We're going to stomp you in the mouth mentality. It's either I'm going to die or you going to die, and I be doggone if I die. It's kind of that type of a Rough Rider mindset, if you will. So normally, the Coach Saban teams in Alabama, they've done extremely well on the road because they have, embraced that mindset. And Saban knows that this team, they've got the guys that can have that competitive edge, that can have that competitive fire, that can have that huge, dominant, want to take everybody out mentality. But when will that grow, right? And which players will allow that to ooze out more in terms of being on the field? And, on Thursday, Eli, I almost had the feeling of, did Coach Saban call this team soft without necessarily calling them soft? That's the thought I got from the Nick Saban show. When Saban said, hey, in years past, we had guys that had that hatred competitive mentality where it was not just them competing against the 11 guys they faced on the opposite side of the ball. They were competing against a whole lot more out there. And it got me thinking, is Saban sending a message to the team that you guys are soft without necessarily saying that those guys are soft verbatim? Because, Eli, I think about the Alabama teams in years past, and Mike McCoy said this before, former Alabama receiver, 2009 BCS national champion, and I want to get Mike back on the show at some point to even further explain this. And, Mike said before, for every 2 to 3 nice guys, guys that are great at the podium, guys that are the face of the team, guys that say the right things, guys that, they operate in terms of a business face of the franchise, moniker. For every 2 to 3 nice guys, you got to have 4 to 5 gangsters to balance that out, right? In a sense of, you're not going to have just a whole room of gangsters because then there's not going to be any order. But yet you can't have a full room of nice guys because then there's no friction, right? You got to have a balance of the two. And you look at just the national championship teams that Alabama has had in the Nick Saban era, you've had that sort of healthy balance because you're not going to have the gangsters at the podium. You're not going to have the gangsters talking to the reporters. But believe you me, you're out there and it's a game situation. Those lights are on. Give me that gangster on the field. If you're at practice and you want to have practice done right and policed right, give me that gangster on the field. You're in the locker room. You want that locker room ran right and policed right? Give me that player that when that guy speaks, if he look at you the wrong way, you're like, oh, snap. Let me get back right because I'm going to get my head taken off. That's the gangster. Give me that guy right there. In those situations, in terms of the field, practice, the game, police in the locker room. That's what Mike McCoy was conveying there. And to me, I always go back to those teams in years past where you had guys that were not necessarily choir guys, not necessarily nice guys, but you won national championships with those guys because those guys had that constant competitive edge, that constant competitive fire. Those guys got the team right. In particular, you go back to that 2015 team. Remember the matchup against Georgia? You go to Sanford Stadium in Athens in the rain, and before the kickoff in the pregame, you had guys like Eddie Jackson and Reggie Raggett and company barking at Georgia. They came out the tunnel barking at Georgia, getting at the fans. Those guys, they were some roughnecks. They were some rough riders, setting that tone early. You look at the 2016 team. I go back to the season opener against USC, and you had the passion of Deontay Lawson and Ronnie Harrison was just so deep. They got into a fight with each other on the sideline. And it took Reuben Foster to break that up. Like, Deontay and Ronnie, they were just so passionate about, you got to be right, and you got to be right, and we all got to be right. They even went after their teammates. If they felt like my teammate is not giving his all, my teammate is not having that competitive fire, my teammate's not giving that effort, I'm going to get after my teammate. And those two got after it on the sideline. And it took Ronnie Harrison to break that up. And a lot of times we've seen this from former Bama players. If you're not fighting your own teammate from time to time, do you actually really have a good team? I've had this in conversations with former Alabama players. And, I know we had the statement from Will Anderson, there are no knuckleheads in the locker room. We had the statement from Coach Saban, there are no energy vampires on the team. And that's a good thing, there's no energy vampires, because you want more, us and we versus I and me. But there's a type of knucklehead that you actually really want on the team. And that's the knucklehead where they want football so bad it ain't even funny. They want football more than what they want their next breath. There are the types of knuckleheads where you can deal with them, right? You want the type of knucklehead where they're just the right amount of problem that you can deal with them, that you can stabilize them, just get them on the field on Saturdays and let those guys go to work. Case in point, Tony Brown was a knucklehead, but he was a good knucklehead. I mean, Tony Brown was a guy that would walk through the opposing team's pregame warm-up and would scare the daylights out of them. Just would mentally take the opposing team out their element. You as Alabama fans, you go, hey, that's a good knucklehead. We need that. We need that because Tony cared about the game that bad. He wanted the game that bad. Guys like Ronnie Harrison, they were emotional. They were knuckleheads, but those are the knuckleheads you want. They cared about the game just that much. They were fiery. They were competitive. They were passionate. Reuben Foster, a little bit of a knucklehead, but he was passionate like that. He wanted the game just that bad. Rough Rider, and would give his all, would leave a limb out there on the field. And if you didn't leave a limb, he would come after you. The same thing with Ryan Anderson. Wanted it just that bad. Competitive fire. Guys like, Damian Square, who remember Damian Square, who had the video that shopped around Twitter? He used a bunch of expletives in the video, but it was a pregame video of, I don't care, we Bama. I don't care if he's the next blank on the schedule. We Bama is what we do. They gonna talk a whole bunch of stuff. We ain't gonna talk no stuff. We gonna get in them. Like, Damian Square was the leader of that video. Competitive edge, competitive fire, wanted it that bad. Kevin Norwood or Darius Stewart, from a receiver standpoint, competitive edge, competitive fire, wanted it that bad. A.J. McCarron and Barrett Jones. Barrett Jones was known as the smart guy, as the studious guy, as the Scrabble guy, but he got into it with A.J. McCarron in a national championship game. Why? They both wanted it that bad. They both wanted to be perfect so bad. There are guys that have come to this program that have had that competitive edge, that competitive fire. And that competitive fire built the Alabama program. And that's what Saban's trying to figure out here is, do we have more guys that got that constant competitive edge, that constant competitive fire, that when it's, us against the world, strap up, let's go. Rough Rider type of guys out there on the field in a good way. In a good way. And you look at, Bama's got two guys that have that competitive fire. Will Anderson has it. All last year, we saw how frustrated Will got when the defense didn't play the way they were capable of playing. Will has it. Dallas Turner, yes, he's young, but he's growing into a player that has it. And then you got Jalen Moody, of whom the last two games, he's shown, hey, he's got it. He's just wanted an opportunity to show that he's got it. And now he's getting that opportunity, and he's showing you. But aside from those three, who else? Who else is going to show Coach Saban, I've got that competitive fire. I got that edge. I got that chip on my shoulder. I got that boulder on my shoulder where I want it that bad. And if I look around and see other people not wanting it as bad as I do, I'm going to stir them up. I'm going to get in their grill. I'm going to get in their face. I'm going to wake them up. So that's what Saban wants to have, but this team is concerned. He likes this team. He believes in this team. He trusts this team. But I think the missing ingredient is having more guys that have that competitive edge, that competitive fire. More guys that are, quote unquote, knuckleheads, but in a positive manner there, that they can get everybody on the team playing that elite, relentless, tough, gritty, Rough Rider mindset. So I think that's what Coach Saban was trying to convey there on Thursday. But we go to a break right here, folks. Don't touch that dial because we're just getting started. When we return, we go to the phone lines. We grab your calls, your thoughts, your conversations. We get to you on a free-for-all Friday. Not just up, Bama Nation, right after this.
9 players have teamed up and released the Alabama Team Paper, which is a video yearbook they've put out for sale direct to fans. Now, for the first time, small dollar purchases from the fans can support the players as a group as well as a great cause, because $1 of every subscription payment is donated to the Boys and Girls Club of America. Be a 5-star fan base and support your team and a great cause with Team Paper. Check it out at teampaper.com/Alabama.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
As we're back into the action, folks, from the break on a Friday, TGIF edition of the show. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama magazine. Got the man Eli Walker in the production studio, handling the business there behind the scenes. But right now, we go to the phone lines to grab your calls. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. That's 205-448-1358. We grab a call right here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from?
Stephen M., this is Tide Man checking in from Jackson, Mississippi.
What's going on, Tide Man?
Man, I tell you what, I usually try to be brief, and I'll try not to make this too long, but I got to get some stuff off my chest. And you brought up a word earlier in your introduction that I was going to bring up, and it just really devastates me and breaks my heart that this is where we are right now. We're not talking about X's and O's or specific players or injuries or this type of stuff. We as Alabama fans are actually talking about whether or not this team is soft. I mean, I can't even believe that we're having that discussion with a Nick Saban coach football team, that's even entering our minds, your mind, my mind. And you know what? I will say this, Stephen M. I don't blame the players because I'm not in that locker room. I don't know who the dogs are, who the alphas are. You know, you made some great points about different people in Alabama history. I was thinking about Rolando McClain, Javier Arenas. You know, you brought up along with the other examples you brought up. But, I'm not in the locker room. I don't know these people. You know, I only see what I see on the field. But I blame – I'm sorry. I blame Bill O'Brien because you made a great you brought up a great question the other night about who would you take. If you had to choose between Pete Golding and Bill O'Brien, you said you'd go with Pete Golding. And I agreed with you. I said, man, I agree. It's a tough call. It's not an easy call. But I agreed with you because last year I did see our defense progress as the season went on and we got better and better. I didn't see that from the offense. Now, yes, you have to take into consideration the debilitating losses to Jameson Williams and John Mechie. I mean, that's, no coach can overcome that. I do get that. But here's what I don't get from Bill O'Brien. And here's what I'm more wondering about Nick Saban. And I'm not going to question Saban. When Saban got hired, the day he got hired, I made a pledge. I'm not going to criticize Saban. I'm not going to question him. But I am wondering just what is he seeing in Bill O'Brien that I'm missing? Because what I don't see Bill O'Brien doing is saying, look, Saban's telling him, look, call whatever plays you want to call. Here's the only thing I need from you, Coach O'Brien. is when we need 1 or 2 yards in a crucial situation, I need your offense to be able to line up and get the dadgum 1 or 2 yards that we need in that situation. The rest of the time, do what you want to do, call what you want to do, whatever it is. And we've not been able to do that. I don't blame that on the players because the players can only execute the plays that are called. We've got Jalen Milroe. You've been talking about Jalen Milroe for a year. And this dude has got size and strength. You can't tell me we can't put him in a wildcat formation with 2 big fullbacks and a tight end underneath him and just get 2 yards. Get 2 yards. We're Bama. That's the one thing, as Nick Saban said, he's always said this. We want to have a team that whether we win or lose, the other team says, I don't want to play them again. We want a team that says we're going to make their, quit. And I haven't seen that from this team last year offensively. And it's early, but I sure haven't seen it this year offensively. And the fact that word soft came to your mind, that came to my mind, that maybe it came to Nick Saban's mind, that is deeply, deeply troubling for any Alabama fan. And again, I don't blame the players for being soft. I think it's Bill O'Brien is coaching soft. He's coaching soft. He's coaching scared. He's coaching. I don't know what he's doing. But I am so frustrated, Stephen M. Smith. And I always try to be positive, man. I mean, I'm pulling for this whole team, coaching staff, everybody involved. But I just had to get that off my chest, man. We're Alabama, man. People talking about being soft, that's for other teams. Alabama, it should never even be a question of whether or not we are soft. We can't line up and get 1 or 2 yards. Now, I will let much more educated people about the X's and O's, like Bill from New York and Coach Smoot and those guys can call in and break it down on that level. They know much more than I do about the game of football, obviously. But I just can't believe that we're even having this discussion about whether or not we're soft. And if that's a question mark, then guess what the answer is? Then yeah, we are soft. And I put that on Bill O'Brien, not the players. That's all I'm going to get off my chest, man. And forgive me for being negative, man. I'm sorry. Let's roll tide. Let's go out. Let's play to our standard tomorrow, and let's keep it rolling. But thanks for taking my call, man. Roll tide. Y'all have a great weekend.
Appreciate Todd, man, checking in here from Mississippi on a Friday, getting us started. We're going to go to this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
What's going on, Steve? Elijah from Jersey. How you feeling tonight, man?
Doing great, Elijah, and yourself, man.
Man, I'm hanging in there. I was listening to some of your pre-shows and things like that. And, one thing I wanted to, address and put it out there in the air is that it's a big conversation now about the cornerback position. Who should be playing, who shouldn't be playing. A lot of people talking about fire Pete Golden. My thing is, Steve, you know how I feel about that whole rant about Pete Golden thing. Pete Golden could have called any defense he wanted out there on Saturday. When you out there with cornerbacks who can't cover, it don't matter what you call, Steve. They getting burnt. You running a race against greyhounds and you running them with chihuahuas over here. You know what I mean? And is it Pete Golden's fault the change wasn't made? Is it his fault? Can Pete Golden sit up there and say, you know what, I want to take this person out or this person? When you look at the games when you look at practice, I'm pretty sure those defensive back coaches say, you know what, these are my 2 best guys. These is who I want starting the game. Can Pete Golden override them? Maybe. I don't know how that process works. But also, can Nick Saban can override him? And if I'm not mistaken, Steve, and hey, let's call a spade, bro. Ain't Nick Saban a defensive back coach? Ain't he a cornerback coach? Everybody talking about this. Everybody talking about this Pete Golden deal. Man, let's put Nick Saban up there too, because he, from what I understand and what I've seen, he's the defensive back coach. So Is it Nick Saban bad coaching? Nah, I don't think it's Nick Saban bad coaching. I just believe these guys ain't as good as we marked them up to be. And that's one of the things people always saying, this person should play this. I believe all these guys should get a chance, because what I've seen on films, on game day so far, ain't nobody been impressive. So to me, all of them deserves an equal chance until that cream rises to the top. Now, Nick Saban has the authority. He sees Kool-Aid getting beat like a steel drum out there. He sees Tyree Jackson getting beat like a steel drum. Bro, why ain't he yanking these guys out this game sooner than this? You know, why ain't he sitting up there saying, hey, let's give Eli Ricks a chance. Hell, he can't do much worse than what these guys is doing. You know, but everybody wants to throw out this fire Pete Golden. How about if Pete Golden can't yank some of these defensive players, these defensive starters? You know what I mean? Because they got position coaches. I'm pretty sure when they all have their meeting, the defensive line coach is saying, well, these are my three best guys in this situation. You know, Pete Golden is just calling the defensive plays. He might not be in charge of the personnel that's out there. You know, Nick Saban is in charge of that whole team. Nick Saban can sit there and be like, man, I don't care what y'all telling me. This guy ain't a gamer. When the lights come on, this guy ain't showing up. You know what I mean? So put him on this sideline. Eli Ricks, you can't do no worse than these guys. You know what I'm saying? And put him in there, give him a chance. And if so, you know what? Just let him play man to man. I'm pretty sure they got defensive calls where one side is playing this, the other side is playing that. Man, let that man lock up on Worthy one-on-one and try to take him out the game. But to sit there and watch these guys get beat like a steel drum, I got to sit back and say, yo, what is Saban also looking at? What is he looking at? I'm pretty sure he's watching it up close. We just watching it on TV. How can you not see it, Steve? But everybody want to scream this fire Pete Golden. I just got a question for you, a couple questions for you, Steve. What number does Pete Golden wear on defense?
9.
How many tackles have you seen Pete Golden miss?
9.
How many missed sacks have you seen Pete Golden get?
He's not even on the field.
Okay, so my thing is, these players, and I understand what the last caller was saying, but you didn't have to teach Reuben Foster. You didn't have to teach Ryan Anderson, intensity. Those guys came to Bama with that mindset. Them guys came there hungry. They'll run through a brick wall. Yeah, they had Kirby Smart, but you didn't have to teach Tim Williams. You didn't have to teach Deron Payne that type of mentality, bro. They came there with that. These guys, Henry To'oTo'o is totally different than the Reuben Foster. And that's why I was so against what people was talking about, hey, this could be the best defense. Man, half these guys ain't even been tested. And now they got put to a true test on last Saturday, and you've seen the result of it. But, Steve, man, I just get tired. Bill O'Brien, yeah, he's not a smart offensive coordinator, in my opinion. I don't know what Nick Saban see in him. He sucked at the Texans. He looked like he sucked at Alabama too. He's not clever, like you said. We haven't seen one screen. We haven't seen one draw. The offense is so predictable and basic. So him, he could go on. But when you talk about the secondary, everybody can't leave out. Nick Saban coaches this secondary. So if Nick Saban can't get them right, then it must fall back on these players, because Nick Saban is one of the greatest coaches to ever, probably the greatest coach to ever come through college football. So are you telling me his coaching has changed? He ain't good? Or is it the players just not executing the game plan, especially on the defensive side of the ball? That's all I got to say, man. You have a good one, bro.
Absolutely. Good call there from Elijah from Jersey. Always bring in stuff to the table to make you think. to make you think. And that's what we like to do here. We like to have fun. We like to entertain. We like to inform, and we like to make you think also. Appreciate Elijah for that call. We take this when you're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Roll Tide, Stephen. This is William. What's going on, dude?
William, doing great, man. Tomorrow it's Bama, Louisiana Monroe. So we will see what this offensive line can do to improve. We will see what the secondary can do because we got 2 weeks of trying to get this team prepared for Arkansas down the road.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate Tide Man's comments there. I appreciate Elijah, man. It's just I tell you what, still think it goes back to the NIL and the transfer portal. I mean, these guys, I don't think I see the fire and intensity that we used to have there back in the old days, like Elijah said, they had that fire, that desire to want to win, and I mean, that Texas game, hell, I mean, just between me and you, I think it should have been at least fucking 41, excuse my language, 41-20 at the very most, 21. That's my view. And I don't know. I still say it's a Southern because you can leave when you want to. I mean, you can, if somebody gets mad or upset, I mean, that's just my view on it there, brother. And Roll Tide, and I'll always be a Roll Tide fan. Thank you for taking my call.
Appreciate William calling in from Iowa. It's a different league. It's a different game. It's a different form of athlete. I just go back to, I never think Mike McCoy. McCoy is a genius, but man, from Maximum Performance Training over there in Bessemer. And the athletes then, in the early years of Saban, you could cuss at them, you could get on them, you can grind them to the ground, drive them to the ground. And those guys could take that type of coaching because that was what they were used to at home. So they could take that. Today's athlete, you bring that type of coaching to them, you got a problem on your hands, except for maybe a small few that still have that old mindset, that old school mindset. But we grabbed this call. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Stephen, it's Robert from Mobile.
Robert, what's happening, brother?
Hey, like your first caller said about the toughness, if we're questioning it, then the answer is it's not there. The fact that we can question it brings to mind that, okay, well, it's not there. So, and Saban's, kind of hinted towards this as well. I think maybe so to try to get the team to be as tough as he wants. I don't know if he thinks if the jury's still out for him as far as the team is tough. But yeah, like everybody said, that 4th and inches, that play when you didn't choose the right play and the right person to run it, that kind of questions the toughness as well. Although I think Jalen Milroe could have showed a lot of toughness had he given the opportunity to be in there. I kind of disagree with your last call just a little bit, with all due respect. Now, I disagree with him on the NIL thing because other teams have to deal with the NIL as well. It's not just Alabama. Maybe it'll hit Georgia later. Maybe he's right, and maybe it'll hit Georgia later. But right now, it's not hitting Georgia. Georgia's not, talking about toughness, and NIL is causing problems. So, but if that's the case, it'll maybe hit them later. But as I said earlier, folks, whatever you feel about NIL, you might as well get over it because it's here to stay. It's not going away. So coaches are going to have to coach around it. If that makes people lose intensity, well, then the coaches are going to have to figure that out too, and the players are going to have to figure that out. So I guess you might as well. I guess you can talk about it if you want. It's a free country, but picking on is not going to matter anymore because NIL is not going anywhere. We need to again these next 2 games establish ourselves. And like the first caller said, if Bill O'Brien calls better plays, then the defense is a lot better. When he calls pick too much, a little bit on Pete Golden, a little too much. I've been a Pete Golden critic too, so I understand where he's coming from. But that last game against Texas, if the offense holds the ball longer, if the offense executes better, the 19 points more than likely are 14 points or 13 points. which means the defense really didn't do too bad. It looked bad in spots. He's totally right about that. But the end result was the defense did only give up 19 points, despite the fact that the offense gave Texas a lot more possession than they should have had. And now to Bill O'Brien, to give him a little slack, there were a lot of drop balls by receivers. If they catch those balls, then that changes. But the play calling that we did see that wasn't a receiver, wasn't people dropping the ball, questionable play calling that, yeah, let's see Steve Sarkisian. Do we only have 20 points in that game with the exact same players? Everybody in the state of Alabama will say no. We have a lot more points than that. So, and Saban's calling it out too with more his diversity comment. My thinking what he means by diversity is run the ball more because that's diverse, and throw the ball deep downfield. I want to see plays and balls passing greater than 25, 30 yards in these next two games. Get that down to a science, guys, before you go to Arkansas. And the next big test, of course, is Arkansas. Right now, the standard, again, is Georgia. Georgia is the standard. If we want to win a national championship, we have to get to Georgia's level. The next test is Arkansas. If we want a championship, we got to get to Georgia's level. It is what it is. So, and can we get there? Well, I guess we'll find out next couple of weeks. All right, man. Sure appreciate it.
Appreciate Robert from Mobile calling in. Him stating the standard right now, Georgia, Crimson Tide, got to be where the Bulldogs are. And it's kind of crazy to think about that, Eli. I mean, for the longest of time, the standard Alabama, but you look at people now, they look at Georgia is doing what they're doing over there. And you give credit to whom credit is due. Kirby Smart has done an outstanding job where the Bulldogs are concerned. Saban likes this team, though. I just want to see more competitive fire from a lot more players. There are some guys on this team that have it. Want to see other guys gain it. Definitely with Bill O'Brien, with him. Whether Saban has the big boy, the play calling, I don't know what he's going to have to do, but some got to give there on that end also. But we're going to go to a quick topic right here, folks, and that being Najee Harris and Mac Jones, two former Alabama players, two former national champions, will suit up and play this week for their respective NFL teams. Mac Jones had a back issue following the loss there to Miami. Had x-ray scans done on his back. You know, Mac Jones okay. He was back at practice on Thursday. Will play, is cleared to play this Sunday against the Steelers. Najee Harris, in week one for the Steelers against the Bengals, he had a foot injury. Najee's foot's been cleared. He's good to go. So he will play against the Patriots. So you got Steelers, Patriots on Sunday. A lot of former Bama players on both of those teams. When you talk for Steelers, there is Minkah Fitzpatrick and Najee Harris. When you talk the Patriots, you got Mac Jones, Damian Harris, Mac Wilson, and Christian Barmore. So going to be a great matchup. But good to see Mac Jones cleared to go from the back issue for New England. Najee Harris cleared to go from the foot issue for the Steelers. But we go to a break right now, folks. Don't touch that down. When we get back, we sit down with my man, Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA, to talk who is Bama looking at as the top targets as the season moves forward. We get with Justin after this.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full-year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
All right, folks, we're back into the action from the break. Hottest show on the streets, covering your Bama football news on a Friday. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Right now we go to the In My Own Words hotline, where we pick up the man of the hour, my man Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA, breaking down the recruiting trail 2023 and beyond. Justin, brother, what's going on? How we feeling?
Feeling good, Steven. Always good to come on with you.
Always great to have my man Justin Smith joining us. Also one of the hosts for the Bama Elite podcast, which you can catch every Sunday and Thursday right here on the YouTube channel as well. Justin joins Patrick Dow, breaking news reporter for TDA, and yours truly. But Justin, starting this thing off here on the recruiting trail, there is a defensive lineman, 4-star Jordan Renaud, defensive end here, who is going to announce his commitment on Monday of next week. Should he choose Bama for 2023, what does he bring the Crimson Tide program? What excites you about this young man as he's getting prepared to, make that commitment decision to start the early part of next week?
I think his versatility in terms of his game, I think that's the biggest strength of his game at the moment. He's a really true hybrid, defensive lineman, you could say. He's a guy who could be an interior defensive lineman in terms of being a defensive end, or could grow into an edge rusher. I think that's the biggest strength of his game. He has power. That power he uses to push back offensive linemen off of the snap. Has a quick get off of the snap as well. Has experience rushing from the edge and rushing as an interior guy. So I think his versatility is his biggest strength at the moment. He's down in Oklahoma and Alabama. Of course, I said my prediction on Thursday, my final prediction for his commitment, as he will announcement on Monday, is that Crimson Tide will most likely land on Jordan Renaud, just based on his relationship with Alabama's coaching staff, specifically his relationship with Nick Saban. He said that really blossomed when he got back on campus for an official visit in June. He said he really liked the time he got to spend with Nick Saban. Also, just like the field of the Alabama football program, has spoken highly about them ever since, calling them defensive line U, going back to my interview with him in July. So I think the Tide have been really high on Jordan Renaud. He's high on them. I think the Tide wins out here for Renaud, as he will announce a commitment down to the Sooners and the Tide. But I think the Tide will land the 4-star defensive end, who I think is just really versatile. I think that's the thing I really like about his game.
So just to continuing here, with top targets, as the season continues to progress here, Alabama will have game 3 on Saturday against UL Monroe. But as the season dives deeper, who are those top targets now for Alabama? Who is Bama mainly focusing on, and who is mainly focused on the Crimson Tide? Get into those top targets as we move through the season.
Just based on their relationship, they told me that they are planning to go to college together, just based on the brotherhood they have formed over the last couple of years at Carver Montgomery. So I think a lot of attention will definitely be turned towards the defensive front, trying to close out this class really hard. On the defensive side of football as a whole, also taking a look at some other defensive backs, like 5-star defensive back Kamani McLean, who said back in July that he was going to most likely take a look at Florida, Alabama, and Miami. Those 3 schools remain his top 3 schools at the moment. Also taking a look at Bryce Young, a 2023 defensive back out of Milton High School in Georgia, who is down to Florida and Alabama. I think the Gators and the Crimson Tide are going to battle it out quite a bit over the next couple of months on the recruiting trail with them in the mix. For several of the guys who I've just named, like James Smith, like Quay Russaw, like Keon Keeley, but Bryce Thornton down to Florida and Alabama plans to announce a commitment on October 13th. The Crimson Tide will get him on campus for an official visit next week when they take on the Vanderbilt Commodores. So it'll be interesting to see how the Crimson Tide's 2023 recruiting class shakes out, but I think a lot of attention will be turned more towards the defensive side of football when it comes to wide receivers. Of course, you have Jalen Hale, the 4-star wide receiver out of Texas, who the Tide really like. He's down to Alabama, Texas, Georgia, and some people feel Texas A&M is the dark horse, but I feel it's come down to Alabama and Texas. Still a toss-up when it comes to his recruitment, but the Crimson Tide are still pushing for another wide receiver in Jaron Hamilton out of Gainesville, Florida, who had an opportunity to see earlier in the season, a speedy, explosive wide receiver at 6'2", guy with an excellent release off the line of scrimmage. If you guys want to see our highlights, an instant reaction to his game that we saw, you guys can check that out on our YouTube. But Jaron Hamilton is a guy Alabama's really looking at as well, has a top 7 plan to officially visit the Crimson Tide during the month of November when the Tide take on the Auburn Tigers in the Iron Bowl. So the Crimson Tide definitely not done in the 2023 recruiting class, still looking at guys on both sides of the football. But I think they really want to hit on some of these guys on the defensive side of football, specifically those edge rushers and defensive linemen as a whole.
If you're just checking out the show here on a Friday, we got Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA, my man, joining us here, breaking down the 2023 top targets for Alabama on the Crimson Tide's radar moving forward here with the season. So, Justin, looking back on the Texas game, Alabama, close win, 20-19 over the Longhorns in Austin. Did this sway recruits differently? Do recruits now feel different about Alabama after watching this game? Were they more impressed by Alabama going down there in a hostile environment and still getting the win? When you talk with recruits or to recruits following the Texas game, what is the vibe that they get about Alabama following that matchup?
I think Alabama still remains in a good place with the guys that they are recruiting. I don't think one game is going to benefit the way programs and are going to look in terms of them being Alabama in the eyes of recruits after one matchup. A lot of the Alabama commits were impressed with how Alabama played in terms of keeping their heads up in a tough situation, in a tough environment, battling through that adversity. I know that's what I heard from a lot of Alabama commits just saying that they like the way Alabama continued to fight until the clock hit zero. But on the flip side of things, you have to think that this is a good thing for Texas recruiting because they look as if they are not as far away from schools like Alabama as people may have thought they were before that game, and they had a lot of recruits on campus for that particular matchup. So they can pitch that to recruits, possibly use this momentum, go get a Big 12 championship or a college football playoff spot. That's not totally out of the question, so I think Texas can really benefit from this close loss against Alabama, but I think the Crimson Tide are still in a good position with the guys. I don't think they are in a bad position with anybody by the performance that they put up. But in terms of Texas, I think they really can benefit from that matchup. But the Tide are still the Tide, and these guys, I always want to say Alabama is one of the best schools, and I don't think one game against Texas is going to change that.
He is Justin Smith, ladies and gentlemen, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA, breaking down the 2023 top targets moving forward here in the season for the Crimson Tide. 4-star defensive lineman Jordan Renaud, what his move will be next week in terms of his commitment. And how did the guys feel, the recruits feel about the close win over Texas on last week? If you haven't done so, you got to check out Justin's show, The Process, every Tuesday and Thursday right here on TDA's YouTube channel as Justin breaks down these commits. He breaks down the recruits. He breaks down the film. He travels to every game. He travels to every event. So when you see top recruits, Justin Smith is not too far behind them. As always, Justin, we appreciate it, man. Enjoy your weekend, brother.
You do the same, Steven.
Always fun to get a chance to catch up with Justin and all things recruiting. We're going to take another break here, Eli. When we get back, it returns to you, the Bama Nation, the Bama fan base. Light those phone lines up. Let's get your interactions. We're coming back to you after this.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit weownthefourthquarter.com now to get your four-finger bling necklace. Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
We're rocking and rolling, baby. Back in here from the break. Hottest show on the streets here, talking Bama football. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. That daily Super Chat goes $75. Daily Super Chat go. Appreciate the support coming from all of you, the fans, making this your show, your network platform, channel, and space to talk Bama. But right now, we go to the phone lines to grab your calls. The call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. Number to call in, 205-448-1358. We grab this call. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from?
Well, Stephen, it's Friday. I tell you what, I hope everything's going well in Birmingham there tonight. You and Eli, I tell you, y'all tearing it up. Justin done a good job. I tell you, we're getting calls from all over the United States of America on this show. We even getting calls from prison. We had one there from prison Tuesday night. Is prison getting lenient? You can just get a call anytime you want to, too.
I mean, I know whether they have a call collect thing. You have a collect call, but I don't know how that one got through.
Well, I don't either, but it's a new day tomorrow. It's a new ball game. Go out there and do what we need to do, what they need to do, not we. I don't have nothing to do with it. Execute, have no injuries, play up to Alabama football standard. The standard has been set a long, long time ago. Let's get out of there tomorrow, enjoy the weather, no injuries. Get out there maybe with about a four lead touchdown. And, the band had a section up there. A lot of people didn't notice it there last Saturday. There's a bunch of squirrels up there in that section waving that title towel like they just didn't care. And when Will Riker kicked that last field goal, they hauled off and threw nuts in the Texas crowd. Said, "Here you go, Texas, get these nuts." I love all y'all. The Blue Ridge game's looking good. Y'all be safe. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the game tomorrow. It's going to be ugly on Santa Claus. And he won't be back to town either, I can tell you that. I love all y'all. I'll see y'all next week. Bye-bye, everyone. Be careful with them squirrels. Bye.
Appreciate weighing in there, calling in on a Friday. Now, Eli, I'll say this. I think the one good thing that came out of the win over Texas, close win, Nick Saban's using all of his materials in psychology. Nick Saban probably was a psychology major. He's using all of the mental Jedi tricks right now. I mean, he was waiting for a game where he could use all the mental Jedi tricks of, we won, we didn't look pretty, y'all weren't listening, y'all bought into all the rat poison, now I got you where I want you at. So now Nick Saban uses all the Jedi mind tricks that he's been bringing up and conjuring up here, so now he gets to use them. And I guess that's the one really good thing that comes out of this close win, because I feel like they're going to go in here to Louisiana Monroe and against Vanderbilt and really play big-time football and carry that against Arkansas, hopefully. I remember today on ESPN, Tom Luginbill was talking about how, when Alabama has a scare, whether it's a loss or almost gets scared and getting a close win, Saban is able to do all of his stuff, all of his little statements he likes to use, and then Bama goes and scorches the earth with everybody else. Which I can see that happening. My thing is, you got 2 weeks to get some stuff in order. Time to get the stuff in order. But quick topic right here. Back to Bama in the NFL. Big Phil for Darian Mathis. 2-time national champion 2017 and 2019. Had a successful knee surgery. Really happy about that. Big Phil hurt his knee. Meniscus torn completely. Hate that. Week 1 of the season for the Washington Commanders. Big Phil in a lot of pain when that happened. And he was able to, he got carted off the field. He mentioned today, had a video on social media. Surgery went well. Everything's okay. That's good. Now he has a chance to kind of hit that rehab, get himself back, and next season, right, have the campaign that he wanted to have this year, but the injury limited him from doing that. But thankfully, the surgery went well there for Big Phil. We go to a break right now, folks. We'll touch that down. When we come back, we end the show with this. NIL has not caused any animosity, no animosity in the Alabama locker room due to NIL. And the reason why? Bryce Young did something really dope for his brothers. We'll talk about that after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to stsfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to stsfootwear.com and get your All Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
Well, people, we're back in here to the action. From the break, #1 forum for Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of TDA. Glad you could join us here on the program. Before we get into final topic of conversation, got to remind you of TDAwear.com. That's TDAwear.com. So for your swagger, sauce, drip, clothing, cultural, fashion needs, check us out. TDAwear.com. Make us your one-stop shop for all of your Bama gear. For that support, Coach Saban, University of Alabama, student athletes, and us here at TDA by getting you that gear, cheering on your Tide. But a very cool moment happened on Thursday, Eli. It was really dope. And when you look at NIL, name, image, and likeness, it's not going away. People just going to have to deal with it because it's not going away. But the cool thing is, when it doesn't create animosity in your locker room, when it doesn't create anger, friction, frustration, divide, dissension in your locker room, but it becomes a beautiful thing. And for Alabama, NIL is not creating negative things in the locker room. Why? Bryce Young refuses to allow that to happen. This is another reason why Bryce Young is such a beloved person, player in college football and in Alabama football. We know the player that he is, absolutely. He's the reigning Heisman Trophy winner for a reason. We know the skills that he brings to the table. But this young man's personality, his character, his leadership, his being there for his brothers and supplying his brothers with something nice, something outstanding. You know, that's what separates Bryce Young from a lot of people when it comes down to NIL. I mean, he's the king of NIL deals. He's got Subway deals. He's got Dr. Pepper deals. He's got BMW deals. He's got deals everywhere. Got the Nissan Heisman House deal. He's got Dollar Shave Club. I mean, Bryce Young has deals on top of deals. But he teams up with Dr. Dre, Beats by Dre. Bryce Young gets these custom-made Beats by Dre headphones. And what Bryce does, he shares the wealth with his brothers. There are several players. Bryce gifted the entire team Beats by Dre headphones, or Beats by Bryce headphones. And what's so awesome is there were several players that took to their social media accounts posting photos and videos of this. I mean, Kendrick Blackshaw is excited about this. Terrion Arnold, Malachi Moore, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jalen Moody, just to name a few. Several players took to their social media going, man, Big Bro looked out for us, man. Big Bro got us these beats, man. Big Bro got us lit. We got these beats, we got this gear, we got this swag. Like, Bryce went all out for us. Bryce hooked us up. So you're seeing no hatred, no dissension, no animosity in the Alabama locker room where NIL is concerned because Bryce refuses to let it happen. So now, with Bryce gifting the entire team with this, these wide receivers better not drop another pass. With Bryce giving you Beats headphones, these receivers better put Stickum on their hands. There better not be another drop ball. With Bryce gifting this team Beats, the offensive line better not let Bryce hit the ground. Bryce's jersey should not know what dirt is. Bryce's jersey should not have affiliation with grass stains, since Bryce is gifting the team headphones. As Bryce is gifting the team headphones, I mean, DBs should lock every receiver up. I mean, linebackers should hit at everything that move. I mean, defensive linemen should be taking down running backs and quarterbacks for lunch if Bryce is gifting everybody headphones. So I'm just saying, Bryce Young saying, hey guys, but drop these beats on y'all. Everybody else should be like, okay, Big Bryce, Big Bank, dropping this money on us. We got to be doing our part over here. But it's just good that NIL is not negatively affecting the Alabama locker room. And big ups to Bryce Young, doing that. I mean, Eli, should we have put in our request for Beats headphones? I think we should have. We may have not been honored. Probably not. But I think we should have put our request in. You know what? We're going to put this, Eli, on the docket board here. I may have to get the TDA staff headphones. I may have to do that. That might have to be my request. I might have to put that on the docket for me to do that. Now, do I have the bank that Bryce Young has? No. But can I at least put forth an effort? I can try. So, Christmas, I may put forth that effort. Christmas, may put forth that effort. But as always, folks, you want the best of news, notes, information, and coverage here on your favorite program, that being the Crimson Tide. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You download the app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you got the Android phone. For your audio needs, check us out, iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, or iHeartRadio to catch the show in audio podcast form right there. As always, Bama fans, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, have those sent to your door. That link will be found in the description. If you're trying to get the fresh edition, print edition of TDA the magazine, here's what you do. You go to touchdownalabama.com, you click join, become a member or a subscriber today. That link in the description. If you're trying to get the 4-finger bling necklace courtesy of our guys at weownthefourthquarter.com, that's weownthefourthquarter.com, That link in the description as well. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, I'll be back on Monday continuing the conversation that is Bama football. Gotta shout out my man Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA, coming on here doing his thing. I gotta shout out my man Eli Walker in the production studio, handling that business behind the scenes there, and also shouting out you, the incredible fans of Tide football, for all the calls, all the donations, all the conversations, you guys making this show what it is. And until next time, folks, husbands, love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Children, you guys continue doing the right thing, fun thing, good thing, smart thing, legitimate thing, to not be bored as the weekend is in session. Get you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. You protect yourself. You protect the loved ones around you. Enjoy the game tomorrow. Bama, Louisiana Monroe, 3 p.m. Central Time kickoff from Bryant, Denny, and Tuscaloosa. And until next time, folks, I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith, and you've been listening to In My Own Words.